Well, it's time now to bring you our special story tonight. The Department of State Services says that it has intensified its counter-terrorism operations, resulting in the arrest of major terrorist kingpins, the conviction of more than 100 terrorists, and the ongoing prosecution of some of the country's most dangerous suspects. Now, from breaking Ansaro cells to tracking the masterminds of mass killings in Benue and Ondo states, the service says that these efforts are gradually reshaping Nigeria's internal security landscape. Sifon Essien tells us more, and when we return, of course, it will be time for our Sunday special.
The last 2 years may go down as one of the most assertive periods for the Department of State Services in counter-terrorism operations. The service says it has not only expanded its intelligence footprint, but also strengthened its collaboration with military, police, and judicial institutions, the combination it credits for recent breakthroughs. At the center of these achievements are more than 125 convicted terrorists, individuals linked to deadly attacks, financing networks, and extremist organizations. The DSS says the convictions reflect improvements in intelligence gathering, evidence preservation, and courtroom coordination that were previously weak links in Nigeria's security system. Among the notable cases included this year is the terrorism conviction of Nnamdi Kanu, the proscribed IPOB leader, whom a federal high court found guilty of broadcasts that incited violent attacks in parts of the southeast. The service describes the conviction as a sign of what it calls a strengthened evidence chain. But while convictions offer closure, several major terrorism cases remain in court. One of them is the prosecution of suspects behind the June 2025 Ilwata massacre in Benue State, an attack that left dozens dead in coordinated assaults that stretched through the night. DSS investigators say the suspects were tracked across 3 states with intercepted phone conversations, ballistic analysis, and eyewitness accounts forming the core of the evidence now before the court. Another ongoing case involves 5 suspects accused of carrying out the June 2022 St. Francis Catholic Church attack in Owo, Ondo State, one of Nigeria's deadliest church massacres. More than 40 worshippers died in the attack. Security officials say the accused belonged to an ISWAP-supported cell behind coordinated assault in parts of the southwest, making the Owo trial a critical window into extremist expansion outside the northeast. More than a decade after the 2011 bombing of the United Nations building in Abuja, the alleged mastermind Khalid al-Banawi is still standing trial. The DSS says delays in the case reflect the technical and international dimensions of prosecuting a transnational terrorist with multiple co-defendants and foreign intelligence links. Officials maintain that evidence continues to be presented and insist the case will run its full course. In another matter, the Federal High Court in Abuja adjourned the trial of Mahmoud Mohammed Usman and Abubakar Abba, arrested in what officials describe as a high-risk DSS operation. The court, which had initially scheduled proceedings for November 19, has fixed January 15, 2026 as a new commencement date.
Over the years, Ansaru entrenched itself in both urban sleeper cells and forest enclaves across several cities in northern Nigeria and in forest-based enclaves, particularly around Kainji.
And then there is the case of the recently arrested Ansaru commanders whom the DSS says were pulled out of deep forest terror camps after weeks of covert surveillance and joint tactical operations. According to investigators, the group ran an illegal mining network that funneled proceeds to extremist operations. The suspects now face a 32-count terrorism charge, one the prosecution describes as a major breakthrough against insurgents' financing. As the trials continue across different courts, the DSS says terrorism cases are becoming more complex, more technical, and more intertwined with organized crime. But with new convictions, major arrests, and stronger coordination with prosecutors, the service insists that Nigeria is entering a new phase in the long battle against extremism, one where intelligence, law, and accountability must work hand in hand.
We continue to confront evolving and complex security challenges, from terrorism and violent extremism to transnational organized crimes and instability driven by governance and socio-economic pressures. In our West African and Sahelian sub-region, these threats have become more interconnected, demanding innovative, coordinated, and sustainable responses. Nigeria recognizes that no country can overcome these challenges in isolation. Accordingly, we continue to champion regional cooperation, intelligence sharing, and capacity building as pillars of our collective security.
For the families of the victims and communities still affected by violent attacks, the hope is that these courtroom victories translate into a safer, more stable Nigeria. Sifon Asian TVC News, Abuja.